Hi everyone, and welcome back to Art with Mrs. S. We are doing the second part to a project that we started. We did some pumpkins with different proportions, and we talked about overlapping and size and placement and how those can help create space in our flat piece of art. Today I'm going to be adding color with watercolor paint. So you'll notice that I have my nice outline drawing with black crayon, my watercolor palette, and then I also have a cup of water and a tray to put it in. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I like to get my brush in the water first and then wet my paints. I'm not pressing super hard and making my paint go away really quick. I'm being nice and gentle to my brushes. And if you do this correctly, your brush should always look nice and neat. If the hair on your brush is getting kind of crazy, you might be pressing too hard, or you might not be using enough water. So almost every time that you get more paint, you need to get some more water. The only time you wouldn't is if your paint, the color of your paint starts to get kind of this big puddle forming. You don't want to have puddles in your watercolors. It can make your paint disappear really fast or make it kind of really mushy. So I'm using kind of a small to medium brush to get around these nice details. Watercolor should always go on smooth unless you're trying to create a texture. Once it starts running out, pushing your brush harder won't make that paint magically appear. So again, you got to get more water and more paint and fill in those nice details. I'm going to keep my details pretty realistic. If you want to do more abstract painting, that's okay. Notice that I haven't changed colors yet. When I'm using watercolors, it's really nice to use all of that color that you need before cleaning out your brush and switching to another color. If we keep going back and forth too much, our water gets really gross really fast, and then sometimes our watercolor paints get all mixed together, and that's just not how we want to treat our art supplies. We're going to take good care of them. Just like with size and placement and overlapping, another way to help create space in your art is to create those darker colors and the objects that you want to be shown closer to you. And then those that are farther away, you can make a little lighter. It can help sometimes. Got one more pumpkin. If you have a couple different brushes, it's kind of nice. Sometimes you have these big areas, you can use a bigger brush. But you might always notice me too, sometimes I hold my brush different. If I'm coloring a small space, I might hold my brush more upright. And if I'm using a larger space, I might have my brush completely on the side of those bristles and more slanted so that I can fill in a bigger area much more quickly. I'm about to change to yellow to do the inside of my pumpkin faces. So I'm really cleaning my brush out. I dip and slide on the side. And now I can switch to my next color without mixing up those colors and making those paints all gross. I'm going to do all my yellow areas just like I did all my orange areas. And sometimes we forget one, or we're just not sure what color we want to make those areas yet. That's okay. But if you already know what color you're going to be using in those areas, do them all at once. Get them out of the way. And look how quickly that goes then too. I'm going to also do my moon, that yellow, bright yellow. Cleaning my brush again because I'm going to switch to another color. So we're going to do brown. I'm going to go do those pumpkin stems. Very light brown. A lot of times watercolors look really bright in our palette, but once you add water to them, it waters them down and makes them those lighter colors. That's what's normal in watercolors. Go ahead and do my sky. I'm going to make my sky kind of blended, so I might do some purple. I want it to be kind of that spooky kind of fall effect. Do some purple, and I may also try to blend in some blue in there. So I'm going to work really quickly. Notice I haven't added my other color yet. I'm doing all that purple first. Getting that purple out of the way first before I switch to any of that blue. What's nice is if you press hard with that crayon when you're painting too, it really helps you out I can go straight over top of those details on that bat and not have to worry about going around it. And now I'm going to add a little blue. So I cleaned my brush out really good, and I switched over to blue. I haven't used blue yet, so sometimes you have to add a little extra water to it. Notice how many times I'm going back and forth from water to color. You can see that brush kind of flashing across the camera. Going to water, getting more color, kind of blending that blue and purple together. If you don't want blue and purple for your sky, maybe you want to make more like a sunset or sunrise, you could have oranges and yellows in there. Mine's kind of at night. I can see the moon. I'm kind of gliding and blending those together, right over top of it, overlapping. Ooh, look at this. This is a good example. I'm going to clear out that blue. I forgot one of my stems, so I can go back and add just a little bit of brown in there. Didn't think this one showed very good either, so I had that brown there too. Well, I have brown. If I want to make some dirt down here too, I can add in some brown for some dirt. Going the same way. And really the rest of this I'll probably make green, because I have my pumpkin sitting in the grass. If you put your pumpkin somewhere else, you may not have green. You may not be using green. And that's all right. Make it your own. I'm just here to give you those ideas, to give you that outline, that framework for your art. But I want yours to be unique and yours. I want you to like it. Alright, I'm on to my last color here. We'll be adding lots of green. I'm going to kind of blend those into the areas that already have my brown for that dirt that's kind of showing through in this pumpkin patch or field. You could get in and get those details on your leaves a little darker if you have a different kind of green. Add those up in here. This would be another good time if you did have a bigger brush, because it's such a big space. You could go in and fill in all those big areas. If you drew your pumpkins bigger than me, you may not need a bigger brush because you don't have a lot of that background. You have just those pumpkins. Again, look at how many times I'm dipping my brush in the water, back in color. I'm not pressing hard in those colors. I want my paints to last a long, long time and take good care of them until all of my white space is filled. It's okay to have some white space sometimes, but in this painting, nothing is white. So all of it's either green for the green grass, brown for the dirt, or you have that blue and purple sky. Really, I don't have anything that would be white. I'm not making a winter scene right now. I'm making a nice fall, autumn scene. Going around, just kind of touching up my details, working very quickly with this paint, and filling in all that space. A lot of space here. Kind of wait to get those little details till later. I'm going through touching up where all those white spots are still. There's a couple, that's okay. Blending in, kind of going around where I already did those brown spots. You can take my time and go slow around those pumpkins. If you have that nice black crayon outline, you don't have to worry about going too slow around them. And around here. And I think my pumpkin scene is finished. Hopefully you had fun today. Enjoy watercoloring. I'll see you next time.